It is the 25th of February 2020. It is 3 weeks and 1 day since I went into hospital to have my femur fractured to help solve a knee problem. I am going up the wall and I'm feeling stir crazy. I had all but given up ever being able to get outside during February with my Forager's calendar book to try and identify a wild edible that I could use during the month of February. I'd all but given up. And then this happened. I hobbled out to my front driveway to get in my wife's car, which is parked just off camera, just over there. Accompanied my wife out to do the big shop a few days ago. I hasten to add I didn't actually go and do the big shop. I just sat in the car looking at other human beings I haven't seen for 3 weeks. But as I sat in a car and as we pulled off the driveway, I just looked down into one of our flower beds, our weed beds as I call them, and I spotted something that looked familiar. And it just prompted something in my head. When I got back home, I consulted the Forager's calendar and there it was. Primrose, Primula vulgaris, one of the plant species that you can forage at roughly this time of year. Now, the way that this book is constructed is it points you very directly and very overtly to some key species and contains quite a description about those key species and some photographs. Contains so far 3 or 4 each month. Unfortunately, February highlighted hairy bittercress, scarlet elfcup, three-cornered leek, few flowered leek, and winter lava, which is actually a seaweed, which sounds quite interesting. So primrose wasn't one of those key species, but this book also lists plant and tree species that may not be prime at that time of year, because remember, plants don't just switch themselves on and off like a light switch. They might not be prime at that time of the year, but you might still be able to find them. And there listed was primrose. So quite by accident or good fortune, depending on how you look at it, I was actually able to identify something literally on my own doorstep. We've talked before, haven't we, about bushcraft skills that you can use pretty much on your own doorstep. In fact, I'm linking to a video up in this corner of the screen now where I talk about that in some detail. And there it was, literally on my doorstep, on my front driveway, was a plant species that I recognise, that is easily to identify, that is useful from a foraging perspective. So I took a little taste. There we have it, folks, nestled away there. Still quite a young plant. Leaves are quite small. You'll notice that some of the flowers have burst, but there's a bud just there in the centre of the shot now that's still to burst, and one at the back there that's still to bloom. So quite early in the year, I believe, but really, really pleased to find this literally on my own doorstep. So as I said, I took a little taste. I'm going to take a few of these smaller leaves. I'm going to take a flower that's opened, and I'm also going to take just one of these flower buds that hasn't yet. And let's do a taste test on camera. I'm back inside, folks. I gave up even just hobbling around to record that few minutes of video. Then the knee is screaming, so I've come back inside Taylor Towers to have a little sit down and rest my leg. Now, I should say, before I do the taste test on these, as always, I'm not an expert in foraging. That's probably come across quite clearly. I'm not an expert in this. If you choose to go out and forage, it's under your own steam. And remember, if in doubt, if there's the slightest doubt, leave it out. Forget it. Go home and raid the fridge and your cupboards instead. There are some reports around Primrose, Primula vulgaris, of some people getting contact dermatitis after coming into contact with this plant. So what I did yesterday, knowing that I was going to be recording this video today, was I actually went out and I took a few leaves off that same plant and I sort of rubbed them in my hands and so on and so forth. And there's been absolutely no reactions all of yesterday, overnight or today. So I'm relatively happy that I am not one of those that will acquire contact or suffer from contact dermatitis as a result of this. So, couple of very young leaves. Let's try these for starters. I am awful at this. It just tastes like generic green leaf. It really does. Maybe it's not me. Maybe generic green leaves just have a generic green leaf taste. But I must admit, I've tasted things over the past, and people have gone, oh yes, I get an aftertaste of ginger, or I've got, oh yes, I can taste the nectar. It just tastes like grass. I'll be honest, it just has. I'm so uncouth. It just tastes like generic green leaf. Try a slightly larger one here. The texture to them slightly... Willow! This happened last time I recorded a video at home, didn't it? Sit down. Good girl. Shush. This got quite a... So the texture's quite crunchy. The leaf's quite fairy leaf, but not in an off-putting way. Wouldn't stop me tasting. It's not off-putting, it's just different. It's not nasty, it's just different. Now I've had 2 of these leaves and that one was slightly bigger. There is something of a bitter taste to it. Not a nasty bitter. It's not sort of, oh God, I couldn't eat that again. I could consume quite a few of those if I had to, or if I wanted to have a wild salad or to complement something. No problems at all. I know some people have said that you can steam them in order to soften the fairiness of them. At that stage, I don't think it needs it at all. They were fine. Again, I'm not shouting it from the rooftop. They're edible. They're clearly adding some sort of macronutrient into me. But they're nothing to write home about. Let's try the flower. So a flower here first. An open flower. Don't know if that's going to make the slightest bit of difference to the taste, but there's an open flower there. No taste, no generic petal taste. No. And then I did watch a video where the unopened leaf there could actually suck the nectar out. No, I've just sucked the petals out. No taste difference. No aftertaste or anything like that. Not a sweet taste. People have said it tastes quite sweet because of the nectar. I can't taste it. I have just thought though, I have spent the best part of 3 weeks on incredibly strong painkillers and liquid morphine. There's a really good chance that it's completely not just numbed my pain receptors, but my taste receptors as well. Maybe they're the most fragrant, tasteful plants that you can possibly forage, and I'm doing them a complete disservice because I am numb. I'm emotionally and physically numb from the drugs. But not bad. Let's be quite clear. Primrose is a plant that is relatively easily identified. They're fairly abundant in my area, especially in my front garden, but they're abundant in the woods that I go into. I've spotted them several times. And you can eat them. You know, you can eat them. You could take them as a snack. You could take them to complement a larger meal that you're perhaps having at the end of the day. You could stick them in, if you've taken sandwiches out with you, you could stick them in the sandwiches to add a little extra bite to those as well. So, once again, the purpose of these monthly foraging throughout 2020 videos is just to expose me, and in turn potentially you, to something that I've not foraged before, that is around, that is in season-ish at that time of the year, this time of year being February, and to give me the opportunity to identify it and to consume it. And as I said in the first video, the identification is one part of it, but for me, until you've actually gone ahead and consumed it and come full circle, if you like, that's where the true learning is. So really, really pleased I was able to identify, a primrose. That's not too hard to do. Really pleased that it was so close to me, because I wouldn't have got out to the woods to see it otherwise, because the state that I'm in. Even more pleased that I have been able to consume it on camera. So hopefully I've shared that with you as well. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever tried primrose? Was it as bland as I've made it out to be, or did you, or my taste receptor shot to pieces and you actually found it really tasty? If you haven't foraged primrose before and consumed it, what have you foraged around this time of the year? Let me know in the comments below. As always, folks, a huge thank you for those of you that are subscribers. If you're not yet a subscriber, and if you want to carry on learning about the subject of bushcraft through my channel, then do feel free to click that red subscribe button and you'll be informed of all future videos from me. Take care, folks. I'd like to say I'll see you out in the woods real soon. So I'm going to say it. I'd like to see you out in the woods real soon. But we'll see what my left femur has to say about that. Either way, I'll see you on video very soon, either from here or from the woods. Thanks for watching.